Well, hello, and happy Pokemon Day. We got some announcements today, as we typically do at this time of year, and I don't think it was a bad Pokemon Day Direct. I don't think it was necessarily the best one, but, I thought maybe I'd take a look at how it actually stacks up against Pokemon Days of the past. So I found a very simple tier list maker here for, it's just a for making years tier list in the 2000s so far. Just rank the years, but we're going to use it as a proxy for Pokemon Day. And just a silly little video to mark the occasion. Happy 29th anniversary to the Pokemon series. 30 is exactly 1 year away. That's probably going to be a big direct when it comes, but let's take stock of what we have so far. So, the earliest I don't remember every Pokemon Day, but the earliest one that I could find information on was 2016. So we're going to ignore most of these years that are in this tier list template right now. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make a tier below. Accidentally made two. We'll delete this one. And we're not even going to rename this or anything. It's just a holding, it's just a storage spot for every year from 2000 to 2015. And then the proper tier list can begin without this clutter in the way. Maybe there were Pokemon Day celebrations. Maybe there were directs in those years, but I couldn't find any evidence that there were anything. So we start right off the bat with 2016, and this is actually going to be a tricky one for me, and here's why. 2016 marked the launch of a new generation of Pokemon games. Sort of the biggest, most hyped announcement you can get in a Pokemon Day Direct. But I didn't like it. Don't get me wrong, I like Sun and Moon. I really do. And I'll just say up front, here's the reason that I'm having trouble ranking 2016 is the Virtual Console release of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, I think. The Generation 1 games, which was fantastic. I got to play those games on my 3DS. Now, I still have my old game cartridges, and I still have a system that can play them. The really old ones, the clocks don't work anymore, or they don't even hold a save file anymore, so it's not like they're still completely usable, but re-releasing an old game, I think, is always going to be less exciting than releasing a new game, right? You always want to see what's new, you want to see the direction of the series, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but yeah, having those games in a format that is playable to more people, where everything works properly, where there's some small fixes, but otherwise there's just faithful re-releases, I think it has to be bumped up the list a little bit for that. That said, the big announcement of 2016, and I want you to put yourself back in that time. Maybe if you were watching the news then, you had a different reaction from me, but I had played X and Y. I had played Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The standard Pokemon formula up to that point was every generation has two releases in its new region. Obviously, Black and White, they didn't have remakes, and they didn't do a traditional third version, but Black 2 and White 2 as sequels still filled that role of expanding the region and expanding the story. Generation 3, we went from Ruby and Sapphire to Fire Red and Leaf Green, and then to Emerald, which showed us sort of the fullest version of the Hoenn region that we were going to get for a long time, and expanded on the story and lore of those games and the region design and so on. And X and Y, they felt like they were looking for that third version. First of all, there was a ready-made legendary Pokemon to star in it in Zygarde, an obvious title in Zed. And the Kalos region, I mean, I like it. It's pretty. I played through Pokemon X on this channel last year, and I had a very good time. It's actually not as bad a story as some people think. I was surprised when I went back through it with a critical eye last year that it held up better than I thought it did. It's not the best in the series, but it's not terrible. But it felt like X and Y were missing something. It always felt like there was room to expand on the Kalos region, and there were some obvious directions that they could go with it. And so I went into the 2016 Pokemon Day anticipating news on Pokemon Zed. And when they announced a new generation, this is where I might break from some people. I think some people probably were like, oh, new generation, hype, let's go. Yeah, maybe they didn't like X and Y that much. Some people didn't. Let's go see this cool new thing. I just got whiplash. I was like, what is this? I'm looking for news about Zed, and this is a whole other game. I go in, I'm looking for news about Zed, and I get news about something other than Zed, I'm not really interested. And I do like Sun and Moon. I still got Moon on release. I had a great time playing through it. I really enjoyed the game. I got Ultra Sun when that came out. But it took me a while to get any kind of excitement for Sun and Moon, because they weren't what I was looking for from that announcement. So I actually think, on the strength of the Sun and Moon announcement alone, Pokemon Day 2016 would place pretty low for me on this tier list. I might even go down here. Because, yeah, that... what's the saying for something that falls flat? Like, went over with, like a lead balloon? Is that what that saying means? That's how the announcement of Sun and Moon was for me that day, and for quite a while after. But Virtual Console re-release of Generation 1, I have to give them that. That'll bump it up to at least a C tier. I could even say a B, but again, I think we give more weight to Sun and Moon than we do to Gen 1. So I think C tier for 2016. 2017... I did some digging, and it doesn't look like very much happened. I think that Pokemon Day was not really much of a thing for the main series outside of new game or new generation release years until later. I couldn't find much evidence that much happened on that one. Same goes for 2018. Again, I actually feel a little bit weird about putting these lower than 2016, because 2016 had something in its announcement that I actively did not like at the time. But then again, I came around to love those games, and there was also something that I liked a lot. So I think it's fair to put it here, and these two just seem like they were kind of duds. 2019 revealed Sword and Shield. Now, whatever your opinion of Sword and Shield might be, personally, I like those games. They're not in contention to be among my favorite Pokemon games. They're just like, okay, I like them. I did enjoy playing them. I'm not a Sword and Shield complainer, but they're not close to being the best in the series. But I do like them. If you dislike them, let's try to put that aside for now. I rewatched today in preparation for this video. I rewatched the Direct that announced Sword and Shield, and it was a really solid one. I think this has to be at least A tier, maybe even S. Sword and Shield, putting aside that you know now that a lot of those routes were kind of empty, and a lot of that background scenery was just background scenery, they looked very nice when they were announced. And it was a solid trailer that gave us a pretty detailed look at the Galar region, went into a bit of detail about the starters, properly revealed them. The gameplay looked nice. And I tend to think that held up better than some people think it did. I do like Sword and Shield, so maybe I'm a little bit biased in that way. And if you want to say you were disappointed later, you bump it down, that's kind of fair. I'm going to say A tier because it's quote-unquote just a new generation reveal. I mean, a new generation reveal, again, is the biggest thing they can do. But there wasn't anything extra special and crazy on top. So I think A tier is fine for 2019. 2020, I've already forgotten what I had in mind for that, so that's not a great sign. Okay. By the way, a lot of these years had things involving anime tie-ins, movie tie-ins. As we get in 2020, we're getting deeper into the side game stuff like Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Go. That's just not really of interest to me, so it's not really going to register on my tier list. So for 2020, the only big thing that I can see, looking back at Bulbapedia, looking back, trying to find any announcements on YouTube, I didn't do perfect research here, but I did some research, is the reveal of a brand new mythical Pokemon, Zarude. And that kind of feels like, I don't know, that feels like a real throwback. It used to be that, like, within a generation's lifespan, they would reveal a mythical Pokemon every year or most years. Like, I still remember being a kid and Cerebi teasing that there was a new Pokemon going to be revealed, and there was a silhouette where I completely guessed wrong what its anatomy was going to be like based on that silhouette. And what could it be? A new Pokemon? That's so exciting. And then they revealed Jirachi, and I was instantly a Jirachi fan. That kind of thing, it doesn't quite land the same way anymore. Partly because there are more mythical Pokemon now. Jirachi was just the third one ever. Partly because, honestly, some of the mythical Pokemon in recent generations are kind of uninspired. Zarude arguably being culprit number one for that. They even in Zarude's movie, it was just like a rare Pokemon that lived in the jungle, and they were a bunch of them, right? Zarude doesn't really meet the standard that I grew up with for what a mythical Pokemon is. And I don't know if people are all that into the Oh, reveal a mythical Pokemon each year. Whoa, there's a secret other Pokemon that you didn't know about model. I mean, Pokemon fans don't even seem to like to be surprised anymore. I could rant about that. I actually think leak culture in Pokemon is, I'm not going to say out of control, because you can choose to participate in it or not, but I think it ruins the experience a bit for some people. But Zarude was kind of a classic mythical Pokemon reveal. That mythical Pokemon was, in my opinion, a bit of a dud. I was not a Zarude fan instantly. I'm not really a Zarude fan now. I don't dislike it, but it doesn't really work for me as a mythical Pokemon. So I think I give them some credit for that classic mythical Pokemon reveal. Arguably the last one, unless you want to look at Pecharunt the same way. How do I evaluate that in a Pokemon Day tier list? Because it's not really Pokemon Day's fault that Zarude is a bit of a nothing mythical Pokemon design. I don't know, I'm just going to say B tier. I like the nostalgia of the classic mythical Pokemon reveal, but it's not really anything special. 2021, what do I have for 2021? It looks like it was another kind of nothing one. Some movie tie-ins. Post Malone. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put 2021 in the D tier. 2022, of course, gives. Oh, whoa! Hold on. Bulbapedia says nothing about a direct in 2021, but I went looking on YouTube as well to see what I could find, and there was a direct uploaded on a third-party channel, but dated like February 26th, that revealed Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, revealed Legends Arceus, and I think there was something else significant in there. What else would there be? Hang on, I'm gonna do some research in the scene on the in the window that you can't see. We're researching on the fly here. Pokemon 25th anniversary. Yeah, okay. Bulbapedia is just missing that. I don't know why. Oh, new Pokemon Snap. Oh, I had so much fun playing through new Pokemon Snap. It's not really a game. I actually did a second playthrough at one point, but it's not a game that I've picked up very much since I played through it. But that first playthrough, I mean, I was sitting up all hours late at night, just taking pictures. I don't. Bulbapedia really fooled me about 2021. 2021 is S tier. Yeah. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. There was some hype for those games when they were revealed. They didn't really live up to the hype, and funnily enough, they're criticized now for being too faithful as remakes and not diverging enough. But back then, if you remember the discourse at the time, people were like, the walls in the player character's house are even designed the same way as in Diamond and Pearl. It feels like, at the time, people thought there's a lot of attention to detail put into these games to respect the art of the originals. And later, people were like, oh, actually, it was just a copy-paste job. Whatever, those games are not the most exciting. I was never super into Diamond and Pearl. They're nice, but compared to other generations, it ranks relatively low for me. But Legends Arceus was a crazy reveal. We'd never seen anything like that in a main series game before. And we didn't know very much about what was going to happen in it, but I mean, that really got people's imaginations going. I was really interested in Arceus-focused game, a story centered on the God Pokemon. And they're clearly doing things they've never done before. And then new Pokemon Snap on top of that. The long-awaited sequel to Pokemon Snap, which I would say lived up to the hype. Some people don't agree, but I had a blast playing through it. Yeah, that's an S-tier Pokemon Day for sure. 2022 gives us what? The reveal of Scarlet and Violet? I think so. There's some Max Raid Battle stuff. There's some Unite stuff. There are some updates. There's the Daybreak expansion for Legends Arceus, which I never really got the hype around that. How much did they reveal about Scarlet and Violet? I don't remember. I might just slap this into the A tier. As, well, hang on. Yeah, okay. I pulled the direct up on the monitor you can't see. Not the I have only have one monitor. The window you can't see. Yeah, we just got a little bit of a look at Scarlet and Violet. There was a Magnemite with its new model. People got to kind of marvel at what the Pokemon models look like now. I think that's a solid A tier new generation announcement. You could even say B tier because it's not as detailed as the Sword and the Sword and Shield one. But I mean, I put Zarude in B tier. I think we can put it in A tier. Now, 2023. This might be a little bit of a controversial one, but this is where I remind you that all opinions presented here are mine. So I said, Zarude, mythical Pokemon reveal. It's fine. It takes me back to my childhood. It's not that exciting. Yeah, 2023 is S tier. 2023 is the Pokemon Day that is the one that I remember when I think about Pokemon Day and the hype that it can generate, and that can sort of fill me with excitement about the future of the series. I remember I was sitting in the office at my 9 to 5 at the time, and I took the time to watch the Direct before getting back to work after that, and the reveal of Walking Wake and Iron Leaves. I mean, I talked about this just a little bit ago in my reaction to the 2025 trailer, but Walking Wake is like the perfect Paradox Pokemon to me. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. I like, and I think a lot of people did in the aftermath of that reveal, that they took the Paradox Pokemon concept, an ancient twist, futuristic twist, in this case ancient, on a familiar Pokemon, and they went somewhere outside the box with it. Walking Wake is a bold design, it's creative, it's kind of weird. And I like to see that in Pokemon. And I was really looking forward to catching Walking Wake. And the reveal that those raids were just going to start like right then. I could just go home that day and get a Walking Wake, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that had me buzzing for the rest of the day. And then, of course, the reveal of... by the way, did they reveal the Sword and Shield DLC on a Pokemon Day? I haven't found any evidence that they did. But I can't remember how they did reveal that. But... Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, the reveal of the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc. Okay, at this point we'd had DLC and a main series game before. We kind of knew what to expect, but, well, we had a rough idea. But they teased Ogerpon, they teased Terapagos. Ogerpon was not a design that interested me that much at the time. I have come to love it since then, as we got to interact with it in the game and whatnot. But, okay. The Sword and Shield Expansion Pass was announced in January, so yeah, that wasn't a Pokemon Day thing. But the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, Ogerpon grew on me later, whatever. But the reveal of Terapagos, after they teased it in the Scarlet and Violet books, after we were given this heavily stylized version of this strange turtle-like creature from the depths of Area Zero. They gave us a look at what it actually looked like, and it did not disappoint. Again, it was a bold, outside-the-box Pokemon design, one that really got my attention, very striking. And so I had Walking Wake to get excited about that day, and Iron Leaves, but that was another one that kind of grew on me later. And then I had anticipation for the rest of the year, as I knew that I was going to be able to catch Terapagos late in the year. And just showing me that was enough to get me hyped. So that was... I mean, I talk about some of these directs taking me back to my childhood. That's the one that I remember that kind of made me feel like I was a kid again. Getting excited about these new creatures revealed, anticipating catching them. So yeah, Walking Wake and Terapagos alone, S tier direct. 2024, that's just last year, and I don't remember much, so that's not a great sign. But it looks like the only... Okay, TCG Pocket was announced then. I didn't even remember that. I've never looked at TCG Pocket. They had all the usual side game stuff that is not especially of interest to me, but maybe it is to someone else. But from my tier list, they announced Legends ZA. That was another little bit of a curveball because I think a lot of people were anticipating something from Gen 5. A lot of people thought there'd be black and white remakes in Gen 9, or there'd be like a Legends Kyurem or Legends give a name to the original dragon that might not be Kyurem. The name might not be Kyurem is what I mean. Or something. It was kind of a curveball when they announced Legend ZA, but in a way, to me, it was a welcome curveball. And in a way, we kind of come full circle here, because I was really thrown in 2016 when they didn't announce Pokemon Z, and they just skipped, I thought, hastily to another generation. I know they were tying it in with the 20th anniversary, but I didn't like that they did that, and that's why 2016 is down here. But yeah, we come full circle as the reveal of Pokemon Legends ZA tells me that Kalos is finally getting an expansion to its lore, finally getting that, not really a traditional third version, but that revisit that it needed all this time. Hence why I called my playthrough series Kalos Revisited last year. Check that out, by the way. That Zygarde was getting its game. And yeah, I was excited. I was ready to see it. That said, they kind of famously didn't tell us very much about Legends ZA. I mean, that first trailer was pretty cool. I think we can call that A tier. The first trailer was a very nice tease, and it's not Pokemon Day's fault that it took them like an entire year to tell us anything else about it. I know that's been memed a lot, but I think they had a strong start with the Pokemon Day announcement. And then that brings us to today, 2025, and I think it's B tier. We got some more details on Legends ZA, and the game looks pretty cool. It looks solid. I'm looking forward to it. We got some more details. Like, it's definitely set after X and Y. There are these overgrown wild areas within Lumiose City, so that we can do the classic coexisting theme of people and Pokemon. But yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking. And Pokemon Champions, I don't know what I make of that. It might be good. It might be just something I'm not interested in. But to quickly review this tier list, yep, today's Pokemon Day, you're wondering how it stacks up against past Pokemon Days. That's how I presented this whole video. And I think it's kind of solidly middle of the pack. It's right there with 2020 and the reveal of Zarude, which was a cool nostalgic thing, but not really anything groundbreaking. 2025, we get a cool bit of more information about an upcoming game that does get me anticipating it a little bit more than I already was, but nothing groundbreaking. I don't think it matches the reveal of Sword and Shield in 2019, Scarlet and Violet in 2022. I don't think that it's sufficiently generated more buzz about ZA that they pull it off better than the original trailer a year ago, which got the hype going for it in the first place. And then again, my S tier Pokemon days are 2021 with Legends Arceus and new Pokemon Snap, and also Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But a lot of anticipation, a lot of mystery, a lot to get excited about there, and also something from the past that they were running back finally after years of people asking for it. And I don't think it measures up to 2023, where it just sent it was, even sitting in my professional office, it was like I was a kid again, looking at awesome new Pokemon designs that I knew would be some of my favorites of this generation, looking forward to catching those Pokemon, and then finding out that I could go get a couple of them like that day. It doesn't really get any better than that as a Pokemon fan. But there was nothing that really disappointed me like in 2016, and there was enough content to not put it down here in the D tier. So maybe one of the weaker Pokemon days, but I'd say solidly middle of the pack is the best way to describe it. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was fine. It'll get people talking for a little while. And of course, next year is the 30th anniversary, so that Pokemon Day should really be something.